Today's video is the second in a series of misunderstood insurance coverages. Today we'll be discussing uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. This is a statutory coverage in most states, which means it's required coverage under your personal and business auto policy. In most states, that limit includes coverage for just bodily injury, but some states include coverage for property damage as well. So let's discuss how this coverage works. Believe it or not, in the United States, 14% of the drivers are driving around without insurance. And in fact, in some states, that percentage is as high as 28%. So you can see this is an important coverage because you want to make sure that you're protected properly if you get hit by a driver that doesn't have insurance. So what happens is that the money that you pay for your uninsured motorist premium goes into a fund. And if you're hit by an uninsured driver and you have pain and suffering, or long-term disabilities, you can collect from that fund for the amount of coverage you've purchased to pay for those bills. So it's important, because such a large percentage of drivers don't have insurance, that you make sure you're carrying adequate uninsured motorist limits. One of the ancillary coverages you can buy is a coverage called underinsured motorist coverage. It becomes a rider on your uninsured motorist coverage limit. This coverage is also important because it states that if you're hit by a driver who does have insurance, but they're underinsured, and this is frequently a young driver who has little experience and they can't afford much coverage, so they buy very low liability limits, or a driver who has very bad driving record and as such has also purchased low liability limits because of the cost. So when you look at that now, adding the 14% of the drivers on the road with no insurance, and then the drivers who have very low liability limits, you're at a very high percentage of getting hit by someone who has poor coverage. And so this coverage protects you so that you can collect for that pain and suffering. And the way it works is that if you do have an injury as a result of getting hit by one of these folks, and again, this applies to people, not only yourself, but people injured in your vehicle, you can sue and collect under the uninsured motorist fund or the uninsured motorist coverage under your policy. So this is the second in our series, and the next coverage we'll be discussing will be coverages about property insurance, and this will be water backup and flood insurance and how they interact and what the differences are between the two.